Welcome back to Saving the Republic with Joe Staten, presented by Grab Your Gear Network, where we speak to people who work hard every single day. Merit shop workers, trades workers, this show and this network is for you. Now, here on STR, we bring you guys the news that you need to hear about that you're probably not going to unless you follow deeply on X like I do, a bunch of citizen journalists that are not paid off to be corporate shills. So if you guys want to follow that news that really matters, make sure you follow us here on the channel at Grab Your Gear. We're live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with that news. Now, with that being said, let's get into today's topics. And the first story I want to lead with today, we try to focus on things that are going to impact your life here in this show. Don't like to talk about trivial matters, culture war issues that are not going to, impact you one way or the other. The biggest story today that I wanted to touch on was some news, again, not surprisingly, from the newly elected president, Donald Trump, and a plan that he is looking to implement as president. And this is regarding the safety of your communities. So if you have been following the news cycle this election, you have likely seen the plethora of stories and evidence of migrants who have come to the U.S. Through one way or the other, legally or illegally, probably illegally, and who have committed crimes against American citizens. And I don't know about you, but for me, this was a key issue that affected the way I voted. And we wanted to see policies as voters, as you probably agree with watching this show, that will prioritize the safety of our communities, the safety of our country, and the safety of our state that we live in. And that's exactly what we're seeing from the president. So without any further ado, check out this post here from the president. Good news. Reports are incoming that the real Donald Trump administration is prepared to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through a mass deportation program. And the president quoted this and said, "True." So he's planning on implementing a national emergency to try and tackle this issue. Now, this is great news for people like you, people like me, who have a vested interest in these communities. And also, with the appointment of Tom Homan, the border czar, you could say, the actual border czar, we can definitely expect to see a coordinated effort at the federal level to remove, firstly, criminals, but also non-criminal aliens, I guess you could say, but technically all illegal aliens are criminals because they broke the law to get into the United States. So going to see first priority of criminals, secondly, a priority of people who should not be here illegally. Now, another thing I saw in regards to this story is it's just something that makes you raise your eyebrow and say, really? Is this really how we're going to do things? And it is something from Canada, the wonderful Canada, our brothers in the U.S., our northern brothers, who have seemingly gone down a pretty leftist path, and not necessarily by the choosing of the citizens, but as we know, with Trudeau losing a good amount of support up there. But nonetheless, Justin Trudeau decided to come out, and guess what he did? He announced a pretty surprising immigration policy. So I'll just let you guys go ahead and listen to this from good old Justy Trudeau.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. Increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn.
So I personally find it interesting, and you guys can let me know if you agree in the comment section, but I personally find it interesting that this policy is coming out 2 weeks after the presidential election in the United States, when the whole world knows where Donald Trump stands on immigration. The whole world knows what's going to happen in the States. The border is going to close. There will be an effort federally to remove the illegal migrants, and it'll be a very strong stance. And so I just find it very interesting that this is when this policy comes out. And just the hypocrisy, right? How many times have you been told as an American citizen who cares about the integrity of your country and its borders that you are racist, you're xenophobic, you're Islamophobic, you're all these things because you simply want a secure border where we make sure that people who are coming in actually are people who love this country and that want to contribute to society, and they're not just prisoners from other countries who have been let out intentionally by the government or have escaped. It's common sense, but just the hypocrisy, the fact that this is coming out now after the election. You had how long to do this policy, Mr. Trudeau, and now you're doing it. And you know, I need to read more into the details of the policy, but looking at it from a high level view, 3 years of vastly slowing immigration, of tightening the squeeze on the flow of people, is a pretty stark policy coming from Trudeau, who likes to tout a lot of globalist narratives and initiatives. So I do think this was influenced by the election of Donald Trump. I do think this also says something about the state of geopolitics in that, you know, we saw when Joe Biden was president, especially in the early on in his term, when he was pushing the vaccine mandate, when he was pushing some of these draconian policies, going after people who engaged in misinformation on Twitter, going after people who were peacefully protesting on January 6th. We saw a very heavy push for this totalitarian, tyrannical, globalist push, Marxist push, including folks like the World Economic Forum and a lot of strange ideas coming out of that with the Great Reset and this you'll own nothing and be happy, all these different policies that have come out. And what it tells me about the state of geopolitics at this point is that there is a tide turning, okay? Donald Trump may have affected that, but there are certain things starting to fall and to happen on the stage of geopolitics that would tell you countries are starting to respect themselves a little bit. And they're starting to realize that it's okay to say publicly, yes, we care about our borders. We will not have unchecked numbers of migrants coming into the country. It's not racist. It's not xenophobic. Now, the next story of today's show, very, very important one. I saw this tweet from Glenn Beck about an hour ago and read into it, and it's very interesting. So out of service internet in the European East and British Airways can't load data nor fly due to internet problems. Pray this is not the beginning of World War III. Watch Donald Trump talk today about how close we are. Pray for peace. And so I read the article. 2 cables were cut between Lithuania and Sweden underseas. The company said, we can confirm this is not an equipment failure, but physical damage to the fiber optic cable. So we've seen this earlier in some fashion when it comes to the Nord Stream pipeline, with some suspecting that the top levels of the intelligence agencies and U.S. government was involved in that sabotage of the Nord Stream. And I have seen rumblings of this for quite a while now, but the threat of, they call it hybrid warfare in this article. They labeled it hybrid warfare. The idea of, you know, going after your adversary's infrastructure and doing it in a very discreet manner. I do know that a large proportion currently still of the world's internet connection is actually through these cables that go under the sea. And so there's a perfect opportunity there if somebody wants to attack the United States or attack Western countries. And again, this article and others have suspected, hey, is this Russia? As it says here, it's unclear what exactly caused the fault in the cable. It's still investigating the issue. A physical inspection has not been concluded. The 4 ministers of Finland and Germany said in a joint statement Monday evening they were deeply concerned about the severed sea line cable and raised the possibility of hybrid warfare. Now, okay, this is Finland and Germany. So I don't want to get... We have to keep in mind that we are living in a world where NATO is acting like Russia is the spawn of Satan. And I'm definitely not going to be an apologist for Russia or for Vladimir Putin. But any chance NATO gets to demonize Russia, they will do it right now. For whatever reason, Is it, is it their collective disdain of Donald Trump and his isolationist style policies, or a little bit of coziness toward Russia? Is it, there's a whole bunch of theories on Russia. I have a couple actually that we won't get into today, but NATO is acting like Russia and Putin are the spawn of Satan right now. And so when you do that, of course, when this comes up, what are you going to say? Oh, we suspect it might be warfare. We suspect it's our adversary, Russia, causing this issue. And in reality, is that really the case? Probably not, but it definitely could be. But what Glenn Beck was saying is, hey, probably should be pretty cautious about stuff like this. And it's not great to see this, especially following the decision from Joe Biden. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the United States authorized the use of long-term missiles in Russia, U.S. missiles in Russia, which Putin has already drawn the line to say that if the United States gets involved militarily in Russia, they are not ruling out nuclear weapons. And our buddy, this is the last thing I'm going to pull up for you guys, our favorite person in the world, the son of George Soros, Alex Soros, this wonderful human being who somehow found his way onto the world of politics. I have no idea how, but he did, apparently. Says, this is great news. It's great news that we're using weapons in Russia. It's great news that we're sending missiles to provoke one of the world's greatest superpowers that has nuclear weapons. Great news. No, it's great news because you want war, brother. That's why it's great news. Because you are a globalist. You want war. You want the United States to be destabilized. That's what you want. And it's not good news. Okay? So, and again, we actually, right here, Alex Soros, they're playing with fire. Americans will be screwed if there's another pandemic. We'll be screwed. I'm pretty sure we were screwed the first time. I'm pretty sure the way that, and look, I'll be honest, the way that Donald Trump partially managed that pandemic, but especially the people advising him, we were screwed the first time. So what do we stand to lose? But the bottom line is there are forces at play that do not have the interest of the U.S. Okay, they are globalist forces. NATO, at this point, I'm sorry, it's a globalist coalition. The countries themselves don't support free speech. So why are we going to continue funding in the absolute assurance of support? In my opinion, as J.D. Vance said a while back, but this is something I've thought about for a while, why would we support countries who are arresting people for speaking their mind, right, for speech? Is that really an ally of ours, or is that a totalitarian style government? I'm pretty sure it's not a Western democracy, a Western democratic idea to arrest people for speaking their mind on Twitter. So anyways, that's the news for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Pretty packed day today. A lot of moving pieces with the president coming in January. So stay posted on that and see. We'll continue to follow how that develops. All the cabinet appointees have been looking pretty good. But let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. We appreciate you watching the show today. Make sure you subscribe, to Grab Your Gear on Instagram and TikTok for clips. Also, we'll be doing some new short form videos breaking down the president's upcoming policies, how they're going to affect your life. So make sure you tune into those videos. But with all that being said, I will see you all on Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.